Welcome to today's class. We are moving to the sewing of our already cut fabric, just like we did in our last class. In case you missed the last class, we already did the cutting of this dress. Kindly watch how to cut, because this is how to sew. So this is the first thing we are doing, placing the lining to turn the neckline. So I'll notch, then top stitch on the lining. I'm top stitching on the lining. After that has been done, here is the zipper space. I'm going to run my sewing on the zipper space, and also the side of my top. This is done just to turn in the edges of my fabric. So whatever I've done here, I'm going to do the same on the other side of the basic top. So here's the result after turning inside out. Do the same to the other side as well. Now that has been done, we move to the front part. Here is a bustier area, so place it and then join one side first, then you move to the other side. Now after joining, we are going to be I'll notch the sewing in order for it to relax, and I am going to open the space to iron it out. Make sure you open the space and iron it in order for it to relax. Now the measurements that I have left, remember while cutting we already added extra allowance, so I have 2.5. I need to measure the 2.5 on the other side as well before I'll start sewing. So I started one from the base, and the other side I started from the armhole. Now once this has been done, I'm going to notch as well, then you can iron it for it to relax. Now that I've joined this, I am also going to join the lining, which I have done, and the next thing is to place it on my fabric in order to turn the neckline. So follow the shape that you have in your neckline. I wouldn't know the design you cut, the neck design that you have on your fabric. Mine is more like a V shape. I told us it's not a sharp V. So run the neck design. I'm going to notch as well, and I'll be top stitching on the lining too. The reason for top stitching is to make your lining relax so well, so you don't have any issue of trying to adjust your lining, or your lining showing at the edges of your neckline, so it stays there. Now here's the design at the front. I have cut one for the fabric, and also I use the same fabric as the lining, and I have my stay ironed on the main fabric, and then I'll be turning with the lining. So we are closing just two sides, and I'll be top stitching on the lining. I am running the two together, as you can see. So just follow the shape that you have on your design, which is what I am doing presently. If you missed the last class, that is how to cut, kindly watch how to cut, because this is how to sew. The two videos are separate for clearer understanding, and you can as well ask questions in the comment section. I'll be there to answer your questions. Ask questions in case you do not understand. Now the design is placed on the already sewn front basic. Now here is another design which is at the base of our dress, that's on the skirt part of the dress. So what I'm doing is to turn with my lining the two sides. Just follow the shape that I have on my pattern. I'm sure you have the same design, so just follow it. The top stitching is done on the lining. Either you cut out main lining or you cut the main fabric as your lining, whichever one you are using. Just make sure you top stitch on the lining so it will relax well. Having done that, here is just top stitching on the other edge, that's the side, yes, the side part of our design. Now this is what we're going to have afterwards. I'm also going to close up the sides here. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, you need to do that, because more videos are coming up and I'm sure you would not want to miss out of any of our videos. Once you subscribe, there's need for you to also turn on your notification bell to get notified each time I upload new videos. Now that that has been done, we are going to top stitch, of course. Then turn it inside out. Make sure you iron as you are sewing. Make sure you iron. Now I'm using my lining to turn the sides. After placing your design on the main fabric, you use the lining to cover it, to close it up, and then you close the sides with the lining. In case you have any excess, of course you can trim it out in order to have neat edges. Now that that has been done, I'm going to top stitch on the design so it will be easier for me to turn inside out. So this stitches is just to hold down my design. So let's turn inside out, and of course here is the final result, so we can go ahead and iron it before we move on. Whatever excess you have, you can trim it out either on the shoulder or on the sides. Now the base of our dress, which is the skirt, the first thing to do is remember the lining. For the lining, 2 inches has been reduced from the lining, so all you need to do is pull the lining to the base of the skirt to run the sewing. This is what we're going to have. But before we close the sides, first we need to get the middle, which I have notched. Then we place our design on it just like this. Here's the design. Place it well, then you can stitch it. Just run a straight seam in order to hold down your design. In case you have any excess, place it well. Whatever excess you have, just trim it out. Alright, now that it has been placed well, the next thing to do is to close the sides with our lining. Now while closing the sides, you can decide to leave about 5 inches on one side, so you can turn it inside out. You can decide to just run down your sewing all the way to the base. Then afterwards, we are going to open the little space that is needed to turn our fabric inside out. Now here is the half length which I am placing. Of course, I'm going to use my lining to turn it. Alright, now like I said earlier, you can leave the space about 5 inches, or you just run your sewing, then you come back to lose the space just by the side. Then you can turn your fabric inside out. So the next thing is to top stitch on the space that we have opened. And of course, here is the back. I reduced the length of my lining. You can go with your choice of length, of course. So all I need to do is close the side and also the zipper space. And like I said, if you have any question, you can leave that in the comment section. Here is the half length, and all I need to do is fix it in just like we did for the front, because I want to hide my sewing on the edges of my sewing. This is what I have. We're going to repeat the same on the other side as well, and then we move to bringing out the dart. The dart measurement, of course, 4 inches plus a zipper allowance of 1.5. That gives us 5.5 inches. Here I am taking the underbust length, and that is where the dart measurement will be starting from. And of course, the length of my dart is 8 inches, and you can take the measurement on the person that you want to sew for, or on yourself, to be, in order to be accurate. All right, so once you're done with that, you take your zipper, you fix your zipper, you bring out the shape, and of course that's the end of our tutorial. So you can take the zipper space, leave the space, run your sewing to the end, or you leave your slit measurement of about 8 to 10 inches. Then you're good to